Okay, we're on the other side of the eclipse, and I feel like some things have shifted. So, what I want to do right now is a reading for you. So, right now is a time to think of a question, any question that you would like to ask of the cards. I personally also spit out a random word and a number, and that kind of helps uh, get in touch with something on the inside. Um, Mine was Wrinkle Dinkle 27. So let's just see what we get here. Okay, our root card is the star. That seems pretty good. Oh, geez. And the main card is the Three of Swords. Now, the root card being the star is showing basically a prayer that is answered. The main card here, the Three of Swords, is talking about heartbreak and betrayal. And that is an energy that, at least for me, has kind of been coming up, over these last couple of weeks. I've been feeling that a lot. So let's just look on either side of this and see what we get. Dang. Okay. So leading up to the Three of Swords, which is this heartbreak, is basically some relationship that had become stagnant, right? And here it's showing this old married couple, and they've been too close for too long. Now, there's a bunch of nuance here because the cups are showing the emotional state of this married couple. And this connection can pretty much be anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be a person. But so you see, three of the cups are knocked over because they're like, whatever, this sucks. But two of the cups remain standing, which is showing that there is a purity to the connection here. Now, normally, what the couple needs in this Five of Cups is just some space. They need to fucking get away from each other, do something else for a while. So eventually they can see each other with fresh eyes, and sort of be open to each other again. But at this point, it's stagnant. They're not listening to each other. They're not open to each other. Now, as this moves forward, it moves into the straight up heartbreak and betrayal. And as this moves forward, it moves into a Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is basically worrying about things that you are not actively doing anything about. All of the energy is locked in the head here in the Nine of Swords, and nothing is actually being done. But that makes sense after, this relationship goes sour and it's followed by straight up heartbreak, then you would tend not to jump right back into action. The interesting thing here is the star on the bottom, because the star is basically showing that this whole track of energy is actually a prayer that is answered. Now, this is one of those that's obviously a prayer that doesn't look like you thought it would look. um, but the star on the bottom, I mean, not only is this a prayer that is answered, but this shows a purification. The star is like the cleansing waters of purification. So theoretically, this whole track is necessary to purify something within us. Now we're going to sort of see where this goes. All right. The Lovers and the Hangman. So the Lovers is showing a commitment. It's completely giving yourself to something. And the Hanged Man is basically a sign of like sort of limiting yourself or restricting yourself in some way. Now, these two together, I mean, here is the opportunity for commitment, and the hangman is showing probably the way in which we have restricted ourselves from doing that before. So I guess the question when it comes to whether or not it's time to commit to something else is whether or not you are familiar with what has been purified through all of this shit, right? Um, and in any relationship, whether it's with a person or anything, when things go wrong, it's not only one person's fault, right? Or at least extremely rarely is it only one person's fault. So this is showing something to be gained out of the whole process of essentially suffering, right? But here we get to maybe an opportunity to commit to something. And the hangman, I mean, we've restricted ourselves to some degree for a while. And I guess the question here is, have we purified the thing that would cause this new commitment to go just like the old commitment, right? So I'm going to pull a card on this purification just to see, like, and in everyone's case it's going to be a little different, but maybe a signpost or something, a feeling within that we would be able to recognize. And it is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so the Knight of Pentacles is about pattern. So I guess the real question is, have you forged new patterns? And the patterns would show the purification. So before getting into the new commitment, especially if you don't want it to go just like the last commitment, have the pattern shifted. And if they have, then that is probably the sign that the energy has been purified, right? Okay. I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to collect all of these and we're going to pull another card just to see what else is helpful to know here. Whoop. All right, that is a reverse Knight of Wands, and let's see what that's about, or why it is there. So we get a Page of Wands and the Death card. All right. So the reversed Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is charging into something. It's all about impulse and just following your impulse, right? So this is it happens very rapidly. So if we're looking at this commitment energy, the Knight of Wands is going to impulsively make this commitment. Now here, the Knight of Wands is reversed. So the commitment is not something that we have to fucking jump blindly into, right? Now, what else comes out with it is this Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands, this is the energy of a little kid. So you wouldn't expect a little kid to make a huge commitment. The Page of Wands is more about being and really understanding who you are, the bizarre ways in which you are, the bizarre ways in which you do things, and really having confidence in how you do things, your own methods, especially where they are different than other people's. Um, so, as we're looking at that commitment sort of energy, this is really saying make sure that you are confident with yourself and the way that you are, right? And the page is also saying this is not something that needs to happen immediately. And then on the other side is the death card. So we've got the old energy being sacrificed to make room for the new energy. And I think that's a reminder, really, to sort of clear the table before any new commitment gets made, to really make sure that there's space in your life for it. And that happens by getting rid of all of the previous shit. So that is what we have here. And hopefully you found this helpful. And yeah, peace. Is this the end of days where lava fill the bays? I'm gonna grab some tarot cards, let's see what they say. Who controls the press? Was Will Smith possessed? Let's shuffle up the cards and we'll see. And what about the freaking aliens? Whatever could they be? Let's ask the cards and see. Come on to my Patreon. It's only $5.